just did a presentation at the chamber yesterday. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I know you know exactly what's going on in the high desert, how you coach up realtors, just what you think we need to know is really because this is all local for high desertins.
Okay. Are you talking to general public or
Really,
who do you want to talk to?
We're talking to really people in the high desert.
Okay.
This is High Desert Talk 960,
Okay.
so it's going to be really going out locally to our
Okay.
high desertins.
And then maybe, I don't know if you guys have really, yeah, if you can shut it, that'd be great. Get closer. Yeah. Maybe try to get as close to the mic as
I mean,
possible
really,
without-
if it's easier, I mean, I could just stick with recording and you guys could do the interview.
Well, what if we have a question, let's just get it in here, dude.
Yeah, we can. I mean, if you guys don't mind moving it, that's fine.
Okay,
No,
okay, I don't mind.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Alright, let's do it. Everything sounds good. Whenever you guys ready?
All right, so I'm good with this. I moved it.
Yep. Yeah, you're good.
All right, go for it, Bob.
And welcome back with Mortgage Talk with Robert Bulmer and Bobby Bulmer, NMLS number 322918 and 2060902. FBC Mortgage is the equal housing lender. Their NMLS number is 152859. Today we have a very special guest, Bobby Tarango. Bobby Tarango has worked as a sales representative for Chicago Title Company. Bobby has been in his current position for over 20 years and has helped engineer Chicago Title's dominance in the high desert.
Yes, and this is Robert, and we are gonna definitely. I have so many questions for you, Bobby. But we have been kind of getting back to the basics around here. So why don't you tell us, kind of how you got where you are now, and what is title? Let's start off with what is title.
Okay.
Because I get excited and I want to know. Give me the stats, but we have a lot of people just wanting the basics right now, and let's figure out what title is and go from there.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know where title and escrow fit into the whole real estate transaction, but we're basically your last hurdle before closing. Escrow and title, we handle the legal portion of the closing. So, for instance, escrow is gonna make sure all the demands of the contract have been met before anybody gets paid. So, to put title in a nutshell, so we make sure the person you're buying that property from actually owns that property you are buying. So we protect you against any title fraud. So if you had a loan, if you bought a piece of property with a loan, there's a 99% probability that you have title insurance, so you're already protected.
Okay, so we were talking up here. Our first show was about literally breaking it down to where you have a person wanting to sell the home, you have the buyer, the agents that represent them. So we've been hearing a lot about the markets, and we've been talking a lot about on this show about how we've been in a seller's market per se, all the way up until recently shifting into a buyer's market. I know you coach a lot of realtors up. What are you telling what are you coaching up the realtors? Because obviously Bobby and I work with buyers. We're coaching up our buyers right now about seller credits, how much you're allowed to get. Versus, I know the prices are having an effect. I just heard it on the news too that like everybody looks to Las Vegas to see what's going to happen in the United States. And in my opinion, we're right there next to Vegas down to the IE. That's kind of like the kind of, in my opinion, what will dictate what's to come. So what are you telling these realtors? How are you coaching the realtors up on what kind of market you're seeing? I know you're seeing a lot of the data out there. Mm-hmm. What's going on out there?
The business has changed. I've been doing this for like 30 years, so the business has changed a whole lot. Before the real estate agent would have a book, and they had control of all the information. And they would get this book once a month that have all the listings in there, and they could show you, okay, here's we can go look at this house, this house, this house. And then comes along the internet, and along with that, Zillow claims, hey, we turn the light on for the consumer. I tend to think they turn on a bunch of flashing lights because what the problem is, with valuations and whatnot, it's fun to look at. Even I'll look at it. It's fun to look at, but realistically, their algorithms can't really keep up with the volatile market that we've been in for so many years. I mean, when I say volatile, volatile going up, volatile going down, just moves in some incredible swings. I mean, we've been going. The market really turned around in 2012. So, I tell a lot of people, I say, listen, if you're trying to price your home through Zillow, you're probably going to cost yourself some money. In 2007, when the market was dropping like a rock, so if you're pricing your home with Zillow, it's going to cost you money because Zillow is telling you a higher price than is giving you a higher value than what the actual value is because the market was going down so fast.
Right.
We were losing 10 to 20 grand a month, and that was staggering. We in the high desert, we all suffer from a little PTSD from that. So I tell younger agents about that when I'm teaching them. Let's say when we're gonna talk about the market, I'm gonna give you some numbers to remember because everybody that's my age, we went through this, man. It was pretty traumatic for us. Again, we're losing 10 to 15 grand a month, so you gotta have some little bit of knowledge of what happened before. And the problem is now Zillow's still there and people are still looking at the valuations there, and the valuation may not be what it was before because it's we hit our peak here at 423, our median sales price for the valley. And when Mike and I go over numbers, we just talk about the high desert numbers.
Exactly, and that's what we want to know. We're all high desertans, and he's referring what he was talking about in 07 was right when the 08 crash. Everybody knew, we've talked about it. Bobby learned about it.
Yep.
He's referring to what started in 07 and the big crash we all learned a lot from. So, he's taught, and this, for high desertans, this is the information we want to know. This is what's getting me excited.
Just to give you, our last peak was at 2006. Our median sales price was 325. Okay. So now, and then our bottom was 2009, where our median sales price was hit for 1 month like 103,000. So we peaked out again here at 423.
Wow, 423.
423. Now our median sales price dropped to about 405.
Wow, okay.
So again, that's happening because of the interest rates. Interest rates drive demand. 2019, we were still doing pretty good, and when Fannie Mae, beginning 2020, Fannie Mae did not know what. They revised their 2020 outlook, not knowing anything about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But they revised it because of the population. They said the millennial population was finally, they were finally getting ready to leave their home, and they were well capitalized. So that was going to drive demand even further. Yep. But then comes COVID, and then we got all this money stimulated in the economy, and then they lowered the interest rates at the same time, and it threw gasoline onto a fire that was already pretty big. So yeah, it just supercharged everything.
I know some responsible millennials, and I think you have a point there. You hear that stat that not many people have some savings in the bank. Mm-hmm. I think they're talking about the parents of the millennials, because the millennials I know who are working and stacking, they have anywhere from 5 to 50 grand in the bank.
They were living at home.
They
really living at home. I say stay at home as long as possible. Yeah, don't blame them for it.
If you are to stay at home, you want to stack. You really want to have that. You want to stack.
Save as much as possible,
because it goes quick out in the real world. So yeah, we're going into 2019, 2020 before the pandemic.
That actually reminds me, I had a question for you too, Bobby. And funny thing is, we're all named Bobby too. So we're talking to Mr. Bobby Tarango right now.
3 B's.
Yes, 3 B's. Going back to 2020, Proposition 9 and 10 passed right around that time. And how do you think, Proposition 9 and 10 being the fact that that's the propositions where you can build units on your property dwellings, right?
Okay, yeah.
How do you think that's going to affect the market in the future?
Well, it's hard to say, with that housing shortage we got, but it's so difficult. This state made it so difficult for anybody to build anything. My builders are having to do a lot of different things than they have to do before. The cost of materials going up, and then, again, then you got all your permits that you got to pull, and then state throws on, okay, now we need solar, now you need your sprinkler systems in there. I mean, it's some pretty good costs that go along with that. So I don't know if we've seen the effects of that yet, because I don't know too many builders that have done that. I know a few of them that have been looking into that. I know people are interested in it. I just have not seen a whole lot of it yet.
Okay, so do you think when people do start eventually building the ADUs, because of course we are in a housing crisis, especially in California, when people do start building those dwellings and stuff, how do you think that's going to affect the prices of homes and kind of the market?
I don't know if it's going to affect it enough, because again, we still have a shortage of homes. I mean, there's still buyers out there. The problem is they just can't afford it right now. I mean, I know I should have brought a stat book with me. Everybody wants to keep their house price around, or their payment around $2,500 a month. But it's almost doubled now. So that's probably our biggest issue right now. I don't know if I don't know what the ADUs are going to do, to be honest.
Yeah, I think what Bobby was trying to say, I know from my experience is, as we get deeper into what the feds are doing and rates and the market shifting, is you're going to see the building slow down on the builders. It's going to go to retail. I was actually looking at an article where it's going to be what's already built. I think you're gonna have, and that's what we're reaching out to as well, as the homeowners in the high desert, because a lot of us are sitting on big lots, and we're talking about, if you plan on doing stuff like that, like our last episode, simple interest, how do you use the tools we have available now? There's a lot of great speakers and financial advisors and a lot of conservative people I love listening to, who have the money to do what they have to do. Well, guess what? We still have equity. That's why Bobby's here. I have a quick question. I remember you giving us some stats on how many homes were listed in the high desert in the beginning of the year. I remember a couple months ago we were up into the 1,500 range. What are you kind of thinking we're at right now?
We're at 1,500 right now. We're at 1,500,
wow.
And it's important. It is important to give that context. So, for an area our size, if we're sitting our housing population is around 113,000. So a good balanced market for us is 1,500 to 2,000 listings. So we're sitting in a balanced market right now. Now, last year in April, it was a little catastrophic for everybody. Nobody understood how serious this was. We only had 345 listings on the market. I mean, that was like, wow.
What? Wait a minute.
345?
Yeah.
Out of the whole high desert.
Out of the whole high desert.
Are we talking Hesperia, Apple Valley, Victorville, and the other?
Wrightwood and everywhere, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, all the way to Lucerne.
And can you mention that population number? Do you know what?
Yeah, I don't know what the high desert population is, but our housing population, the single family residence population, is around 113,000. So
wow.
So again, for an area our size, 1,500 to 2,000 listings is a good balanced market for us. So we're balanced right now. I expected to see the listings start dropping a little bit more, just because around this time of year people don't want to list anymore, and people Mike said yesterday in our talk, it was he said this market is built for real sellers. People that really have to move. It's not built for people that just want to test the market out.
Exactly. If you're serious about selling for whatever reason, and we kind of talked about why would a seller want to move? Change of work, moving somewhere else, another state, or even right now we've been talking about, it gets to a point where we can all agree the values have not dropped enough to even come close to compensating for what's affordable and what the rates are right now. I'm putting up quotations, so the buying power has been lost by us hard workers who want to just use the tools we have. So, that's really what I was a big point I wanted to make.
And I agree with that too. I do feel like, especially with the market shift, a lot of the buying power is lost, especially with hungry borrowers. We're seeing them go from getting pre-qual to almost getting like a mansion to almost getting a shack. you know. So I think with the interest rate rise and the market shifting, we did lose a lot of buying. Everybody lost a lot of buying power.
Yeah, and what do you think if it gets to a certain level? It's like people will hold on to their houses, less buyers, so that's a reality.
Well, right now we're sitting at like a 2007 demand right now.
Okay.
Okay, demand kind of dropped. We don't have this 2007 inventory. We almost listed 5,000 homes up here, and we cannot do that.
Wow,
That was
2007.
Yeah, 2007. I think we were sitting at almost 5,000 listings.
5,000 listings. This is what we're talking about of finding out what's going on.
Supply and demand.
We are at a stable, barely getting in with 1,500 homes, which is a normal market.
We're hitting a normal market right now. So again, there's still demand. It's just that it's not going to be. You're not going to get $40,000 over listing price anymore. There's not going to be people lined outside your house, waiting to go see it. That time has come and gone. I mean, it was beautiful. It was wonderful. I think everybody had the greatest couple of years in their entire careers these last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? That reminds me of the tip of the week for realtors. I've been thinking about this all week. Tip of the week for realtors is max seller credits. There's only really, with rates right now, talking to a lot of buyers, guess how we can save these buyers money is having to come in with just the down payment, and we know, and not having to cover cost. A person looking to buy a home and live in it usually can get up to 6% from the seller. So realtors tip of the week, hey, price is great, and we're coaching our buyers up. We can save more money by getting max seller credits. And there was a little point to that, but we want to get those max seller credits.
Yeah, and remember to calculate how much, even if you're a home buyer or a realtor, the equation to find out how much seller credits you can get is very easy too. You take the purchase price of your home and you times it by 6% or multiply it by 6%.
Yep. We're gonna take a quick break, Bobby. If you can just give how to contact us.
If you guys have any questions, you guys could always call us at 760-490-0920 or visit our website at FBC Home Loans. Again, that's FBC Home Loans with the S.com/R Bulmer.
All right, I have a question. You got a lot of homeowners. We have a lot of people who have family up here, where we are going to dedicate and teach people about gifts of equity. We talked about seller credits. Why is it important, even if you have family members who want to put one of their family members on title or want to do an interfamily transaction? I always preach here, and I've even referred people directly to you, is like, you need title insurance, even if it's going to cost you a little bit out of pocket. It's the insurance, not only for future stuff with future moves they want to make with the property and the lender. The lender may not honor that grant deed or quitclaim deed you did on your own without having the title company involved in insuring it.
This is the biggest issues we have in our industry, and they're all self-inflicted problems.
Yep.
People typing up their own deeds. Somebody gave them some enough information to get them in trouble.
Yep.
I'm going to add somebody to title. Hey, somebody said it's okay for me to add somebody to title, but here's one rule. You always remember this rule. Anything that attaches to your name attaches to title. So, for instance, let's say I'm gonna add a friend to title with me, and my friend all of a sudden he came along with some judgments against his name. Guess what? Those go against the property now, and people will say, "Oh, I just deed them up." Too late.
Yep.
It's too late. They can't do it, because every time when we run a title policy, we're obviously we're running the property. We're making sure everything was deeded correctly. We are looking to see what loans are against the property. We're looking to see easements and whatnot. But the other thing we do, we run this general index where I'm running somebody's name.
Yes. Real quick, you know how many times I've ran across, doing this since 1998, where title, where the person had the exact same name, date of birth, and something showed up on the person's title of on the home because the person had the same name, and after doing the research you do to protect the buyer or the owner of the home, actually got the liens were taken off because
We can, well, that's, if we have like, if somebody gives me a name like of a John Smith, I have to have what they call a statement of information, where I'm gonna find out where they lived the past 10 years, I'm gonna find out if they're married, I'm gonna get their social security number so I can eliminate some of these problems out there. But again, the biggest problem we have is people deeding back and forth. Title doesn't like that. This, Southern California, it's a pretty big real estate fraud capital. So
Yes.
we look at any deeds done outside of a formal transaction. We look at those things sideways. That's always a red flag for us. We don't like them. A lot of times we won't accept them. So always keep that in mind. There's a document we will accept though along with it. If you present us this document, it's called the uninsured deed affidavit, declaration of uninsured deed. So basically, you're gonna go back to that person that deeded you that property, and it's basically saying, yeah, I meant to do this. The rule with that is, the person that notarized the first deed cannot notarize that declaration of uninsured deed. So there's steps to go to this stuff.
yeah, and let's put it this way: if title will not insure the transaction, I don't know of a lender, bank, credit union, or any institution that loans money for homes that will fund the loan. You have to have a clear title.
Yeah.
Exactly. Another thing that takes priority over everything is tax liens, and that's another thing you're looking for.
Yes.
Is that has priority. So we're in a norm. You're saying based on the listings, 1,500 to 2,500 is a healthy market.
1,500, 2,000.
To 2,000 is a healthy market right now.
Yeah.
So you talk to a lot of realtors. You coach a lot of realtors up, and what I mean by coach up, obviously you talk to them about this market and kind of let them
Sure.
know.
Yeah, you're seeing everything before we are, and I always call it the time delay in real life.
Sure, the boots on the ground, yeah.
Yeah. So what are you telling these realtors as far as how to tell if someone's wasting their time, if they're just filling out the market, or how do you coach them up on being the best realtor that they can be?
Yes, because I have been to your lunch and learns, we call them, and when you go and speak, and I'm literally taking notes. If I'm a realtor, I want to know what Bobby Tarango has to say and what he's telling us to do. So what are you telling agents?
Right now we have a pricing issue, and I've had a couple of brokers. One of my brokers came up with this saying, we're moving to a skilled-based market, and one of the things we're telling right now is, look, it's been everybody's getting anecdotal information from their friends. And I tell everybody, say, look, when I give a talk on numbers, I said, listen, if I find out you're a real estate agent and let's say you and I meet you at a cocktail bar, if I find out you're a real estate agent and we start talking and I ask you how the market, and you can't make me say, wow, you say, so we didn't have a conversation. We really didn't have a real estate conversation. So,
Right.
That's what a lot of the agents, we're all real focused, getting real data focused right now. But it's got to be data that the general public can understand, because, too much data is just that. It's going to be too much data. So you got to speak really we don't want to speak anecdotal about it, because again, that's the information that the general public's getting, because they're getting information from their mother, their coworker, their neighbor across the street. I'll never forget, in like 2006, I've already seen the market change, and the neighbor across the street had this really old house, and I'm talking about this house that sold across the street. She goes, yeah, I think she sold it too cheap. That everybody's an expert right now. When the market's up, everybody's an expert right now. And everybody wants to know about real estate. We in California equate our wealth with real estate. So we want data, and we gotta stay away from the data that the media puts out. They talk about the U.S. housing market. I don't know if there's such a thing. You got the Apple Valley market. You got the L.A. market. You got the Detroit, Michigan market. Those are all different things, and there's a lot of different things that make this market move that don't make other markets move. But like I said, every market is a little bit unique as to what's going on.
Exactly. And Bobby and I could attest to this because we both grew up in this business. I was thrown in at 20. I think you were what, 18 or
Yep.
Bobby was, my son Bobby Bulmer.
The other Bobby.
Yeah, the one right here. NMLS 322918 and Bobby's
2060902.
But I think we could attest that everybody asks, when is the best time to buy and all this. You know, I think it comes down to whenever you can pull it off.
Sure.
I agree with that statement too. Whenever you can afford it and whenever it's possible, that's when I also think you should make that move.
Yeah, because Bobby Bulmer looks at me and goes, man, things are great. We're over here. We're on the grind. He hasn't seen and experienced what Bobby and I have been through since the we're the same age, so late 90s.
Yeah.
Since the late 90s, you learned it in getting you learned about the '08 crash.
Oh yeah, going through the licensing and obtaining my loan originator license. Everybody's required to learn about the '08 crash and obviously the laws, rules, and regulations that were in place after the '08 crash and kind of why the market did crash back in 2008. But no, that is true too. I have not seen too much. I mean, I know the market's tough. I know it's bad, but I'm still kind of in that new phase. I guess you could call me a rookie, but for me, business has just picked up because competition is dropping off. So I've been getting more leads. I haven't, and if you stay working and you stay consistent and you keep doing, obviously your routes, you keep calling people, you're still gonna get business regardless of the market.
And Bobby said it. What's the wow factor you're bringing to these buyers? I'll tell you right now what the wow factor is, and that goes to the tips, getting that max seller credits. Saving somebody 10 to 20 grand, getting them a below market rate, getting them that payment Bobby was talking about, that sweet payment. That's saving them a lot of money for a while to where, hey, guess what? There's times we're coaching people up when you buy with minimum down and all this stuff to where there's going to be a time where you want to restructure. Rates stay high forever? A lot of people predict they're going to go down just as fast as they went up. We've seen it over the years. So the wow factor. So some of the wow factor for me is, hey, when we're putting in bids until these sellers realize, the tip of the week too, as I finally came back to me for the realtors, is if they're counter offering your bid with max seller credits, if they're counter offering you, chances are, would you agree that you're probably the only offer there is?
It could be, Mike and I were talking about this one day. So right now is when you want to really throw some offers in right now. People still ask, is it a great time to buy, is it a great time to sell? It really still is a great time for both.
Yes.
I write little articles also, and one of the things I was, put a couple little graphs on there, sellers, remember we're in a normal market now, but if you want to sell right now, think I'm lost all kinds of money. He said, listen, we're not even 10% off the peak.
Nice.
So you're still gonna make some pretty good money.
Get while the getting's good, gang.
Yeah.
I know we're ticking down soon, but keep going.
And buyers, for those buyers that are waiting for oh god, I'm gonna wait for the crash. When Bobby, you were telling me you took all those courses they required you to talk about, 2008. You learn about them.
Yep.
What people don't understand in our industry, there's so many fail safes that were put into place now, so there wasn't, to protect us from doing a lot of bad loans.
100%, I agree with that.
Here's the sell face, guys. I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but here's the fail safes. Is we verify everything and paper trail everything.
People are qualified correctly nowadays.
Yes.
And that is definitely one of the fail safes that you were just talking
Because
about.
I lived it up until the '08 crash, and we're getting into the 3 qualifying factors, and let me tell you that you only needed one back then, a credit score.
You had to be able to fog the mirror, like a buddy of mine would say. All you had to do was fog a mirror. But you gotta remember, people are waiting for a crash. Okay, so there's, I think the last thing I was looking at, $11 trillion in tappable equity in the United States in our homes right now. And remember that last recession was an unemployment-driven recession. We're at full employment right now. And the other thing we don't have the glut of inventory. These builders are way smarter than they were last time. They're not building. We don't have that inventory. And the other thing too, the homeowners, they got really good loans. They're below 3%. I mean, there's 2/3 of the United States is below 3%. they're in love with they may be in love with their home, they may be in love with their loan, and they may not be moving. So if you find a house, you probably want to get it right now because these interest rates, they will drop again. It happens every single time. Once they say, okay, we did break it, now that's how we stimulate the economy. We've got to lower interest rates.
Yep.
And what's going to happen when they lower the interest rates?
Oh, it's a boom.
Demand again.
Oh, yeah, and the prices are higher than the last high you just talked about.
Yeah.
We are running out of time, Bobby. Why don't you close the show out? And Bobby, real quick, will you come back? And
Oh, for sure.
Okay, cool.
A lot of fun.
Because
Next episode, we're going to have him back on. Real quick, if you guys have any questions and want to reach out to us, you can call us at 760-490-0920. Or you can visit our website at fbchomeloans.com/R Bulmer. FBC Mortgage is a equal housing lender. Their NMLS number is 152859. Robert Bulmer's NMLS number is 322918, and mine is 2060902.
okay, and yes, Bobby, I really appreciate you being here. We'll get together, and if you guys ever need anything from Chicago Title, get a hold of Bobby, Robert or Bobby. We know exactly how to get a hold of Bobby Tarango.
You also have a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
right?
all of our handles are Mike and Bobby Show. I actually did create something for the consumer. Titleiseverything.com. You can actually go on there and get your fill out a form and get your deed for free. Because don't want people making deeds ill-advised.
Yes. Okay.
Call us. You can call. It doesn't cost any money to talk to us.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, so reach out to us for our contact information, and we'll see you guys next episode.
Yes, thank you. Right when we was getting good.
I know.
That is.
I felt like right when we were.
this show.
I felt like right when we were getting into it, huh, Bobby?
Yeah, I know.
Right when we started getting
we're getting hot.
comfortable.
We're getting hot.
I wonder if you could ask, like, if we have